I love to have fun. I think that it's important, and adults have stopped playing. We are like taking life so seriously all the time. But in a nutshell, I'm that person that really wants to help people discover or rediscover the greatness within themselves. And that's what I love to do. I love to see a smile on people's faces. And I love to see when the light bulb goes off above their head.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Reanimated Stories. My name is Roger and I am your host, and I am here today with Melinda Stallings. I've had the privilege of knowing Melinda for a couple of years now, and it has been really exciting just to know her. She has been an encouragement to me. She has been a well of wisdom and just someone who makes me feel good because she laughs at my jokes. Thank you so much, Melinda, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me today, Roger. I'm super excited about your podcast, and I'm really looking forward to some good laughs on a Friday. And no, I do not laugh at them just because I want to be nice. You genuinely crack me up.
Well, Melinda, without further ado, why don't you go ahead and start telling people, just let us know what it is that you do and tell us a little bit more about the Positive Consultant and everything that you do.
Yeah, thanks, Roger. I am committed. My mission in life is to positively impact the world one individual at a time. And it's important to me to bring positive energy everywhere I go because I feel like the world has enough negativity in it. It's always encouraging to me to see how the energy can even lift when I'm talking with a person. So, true to my mission, it is, let's discover what's going right for you. Let's discover what's the best that could happen. Let's look for the positives within your life. And then I bring that over into whether it's a coaching situation, in my executive coaching or personal life coaching. And then certainly within the seminars and keynotes that I deliver to organizations and associations. And in the gamified online course that I've developed called PAL, the Positive Approach to Leadership, there's all kinds of ways for people to get the positive endorphins released by completing what they've learned and applying it. And they get to go back into the course, click a button, the bells and whistles go off, and the dopamine releases. I love to have fun. I think that it's important, and adults have stopped playing. We're like taking life so seriously all the time. But in a nutshell, I'm that person that really wants to help people discover or rediscover the greatness within themselves. And I'm blessed that I have just numerous ways that I can do that, either individually or through groups. And that's what I love to do. I love to see a smile on people's faces. And I love to see when the light bulb goes off above their head. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, Melinda, you do so much, and I love that you do because, I mean, you even have it behind you. It says positive energy, and you really do. You really bring that positive energy. I remember when we first chatted and you were telling me, like, this is what you're doing, but this is also what you're doing. And then, with Disrupt, the first time we did it, and I was like, well, I really don't know what I'm doing here. And we'll get to that in just a second. But when you first got onto the stage and you just brought the audience alive, I thought that was fantastic. And you do that every single time that we do that at Disrupt Austin. And so I love that because you really do. You live that out. You are positive. And there's been some tough times and we've talked about it, but yet you have still brought that positivity. You still brought that positivity out. And I think that that's a super impactful thing because you do. Yeah. You know what? Things aren't going well right now, but I love how you always start off with, hey, what's going good right now? Because I think that a lot of times we forget that whether you have a faith background or not, we tend to think like, oh, everything's going bad. But I love how you always bring that positive energy and you start off with that, hey, what's going good in your life? And so I appreciate that. And I love that. So Melinda, you are the positive consultant. And so you do that for businesses, you're doing that for individuals. But then on top of all of the things that you're doing, you're also the owner, CEO, the leader here with Disrupt HR Austin. And you brought me in and I was able to help out and learn a little bit more. I was thinking, I don't have nothing to do with HR, but then you showed me what it was. So talk a little bit about Disrupt HR Austin. Talk a little bit about what that does and how that connects even to what you do with the Positive Consultant.
Yeah, Roger, thanks. I'm going to tell our story, Roger. So Roger and I met through a networking group, and we did a one-on-one, and we met for breakfast. And I think Roger thought he was going to sell me a website, which he did. That was fine. And it's a great website. You can go check it out, thepositiveconsultant.com. But I also started talking, as Roger mentioned, to him about Disrupt HR Austin. And I had just gotten the license for it. And at this point in time, I didn't really know anyone in Austin. I had been here for about 3 years, but traveled the state as a leadership development consultant, a multinational corporation. And so I was gone on a Monday and would come home on a Friday. I didn't really get a chance to meet anyone. So the networking group really helped me with that. And I really believe in divine guidance, and Roger being one of the first people that I had, I would say, a significant one-on-one with over breakfast, which was only supposed to be a short while. And we ended up staying a long while. And truly, Roger, I could not have done this without you. I remember you saying, I don't really know a whole lot about HR. And the whole key for Disrupt HR is, yes, it has HR in the title, but the gist of it is, if you're an employee, if you're an employer, if you've ever worked in your life, there's something at Disrupt HR Austin for you. The premise of it is that we have 12 speakers who have 5 minutes to share 20 slides that auto advance every 15 seconds. And that's a feat in itself. And Roger, when I just expressed to him, true to form in what he does with his social media genius, I just told him what I wanted for the website, and it was greater than I could have ever expected. And I know that it is a lot of work to keep it up, and many people don't realize, but we're all volunteers. Proceeds go to a charity of choice, and we're looking at moving to a new charity this year. Still going to support our older one, but it's important for me, and I think for the team, that we are supporting local charities. And so we're looking forward to that. We've got a couple of great picks that we're looking at. Disrupt HR and everything that we do to serve the community and the people within it. Disrupt HR is unlike anything I've ever experienced, and I get that from a lot of people. The energy in those 4 hours, it's not a conference. It's not a seminar. It is an experience, is what it is. And the energy that we get from people in those 4 hours between the speakers and then the networking, we have a pre-event and a mid-event. And this year we're going to be having after events. We're so excited about that, so we can continue the disruptive dialogue. But that event brings together professionals who rarely get the opportunity to just relax, let their hair down, have conversations about what the speakers have discussed, and then other things. Some people get to catch up. They haven't seen each other in 3 months or something. And it is, for me, I mean, right now my heart is getting so full because I love to see people throw their head back and laugh, and all of the great ideas that come out of Disrupt and all of the great application that occurs as soon as it's done and continues to be done. We get emails and notes from people all the time about that. We're really looking forward to April 23rd. That's going to be our 7.0, Disrupt HR 7.0. So how does Disrupt play into the positive consultant? Well, again, Roger, thank you for mentioning how important, that I do live my mission, and that when I get on the stage, I love to sing. So
Yeah.
I always pick a song that I can walk up on stage and belt it out. And that's really fun for me. And the truth be told, it kind of calms my jitters too. It's so wonderful to look out in that audience and see the smiles on everybody's faces and their heads nodding. And for me, it is basically following up with people from the event, just meeting new people. I'm just like anyone else in that position. I'm just there exploring the positive possibilities. And it is such a dynamic group of individuals. They're influencers, they're decision makers, they're people just like you and me that, we've got great ideas, and sometimes we just need someone to bounce them off of. And then you get those really magic relationships that occur, like ours. And our team is so amazing. There's no way Disrupt would be what it is without them. And then you get to build relationships, and that's the real beauty. Transactional is one thing, and connections are fine, and acquaintances are great to have, but it's the relationships that really make a person. And when you feel that you trust a person enough to open your vault of treasured referrals, that's the kind of relationships that you want to build and that Disrupt helps to build.
Yeah, 100%. Going back to what you had at the beginning, when you had said, I don't know anything about HR, and how you said, well, it's not just people that are in HR, it's business owners, it's entrepreneurs, right? Anybody who has done any sort of work in their life is there. And you're right. It's such an interesting experience. It's unlike anything that I've really been to before, to where, we're walking into this place and we are interacting with people, and they may be networking, as HR professionals or just as acquaintances, people that they know, their friends that may be at another position in the company, or they may be at another position in another job. You have these business owners, and you just have all these people. And so it's such an interesting experience to always be there, because everybody's just having a great time. They're laughing, they're connecting. They're having these really great conversations that hopefully lead into other things later on, just great ideas that, hey, we're going to take it back on, tomorrow, and we're going to start trying to think how we can implement this. And then for the speakers, hey, we want you to come in and do this. And I love that, because you get that from the moment that you come on to the stage and you're able to introduce the whole thing. And then Alberto, he comes in and he introduces the speakers, and everybody's able to talk about the sponsors. And it's such a wonderful thing. And in that, you have what you're doing also in your consultancy, in your membership, and in your classes, and in your seminars, and in your keynotes that you're doing as well. You're bringing that over, and you're able to see how people are doing that as well. So as you're doing that, Melinda, as you're going about and you're doing Disrupt HR, and as you're traveling, you're traveling all the time, and it's always so cool. It's like, hey, do you want to meet? It's like, well, I'm doing something. All right, well, we'll find a time. And you're always just out there. And I know that you're doing that. You're spreading your positivity as you're going out and as you're doing that. So as someone who is looking and seeing these things, that, man, right now it's rough, right? Whether it's the job market, whether it's finances, whether it's our marketing budget, there's something going on, right? And when you walk into that place, tell me a little bit about what you do, whether it's a keynote, whether you are giving some sort of class or giving some sort of presentation. When you're walking into those places, what does it look like for the positive consultant to kind of come into a place that maybe is not very positive at the moment?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I do is pray before I go in.
Yeah.
And God works through me. And I'm on his mission, not my mission, although I have wholeheartedly accepted this as my mission. And I really do center myself. And, I tell people, take a deep breath, take 3 deep breaths. Think about how amazing this is going to be. Think about how you're going to positively impact lives. It's not about me at this point. It's about what am I going to bring and how am I going to deliver something that is going to change somebody's life. The other thing I do is, if I like to try and get places early, and I just walk in as another person. A lot of times people don't really know who I am. They don't realize that I'm the speaker or the facilitator. And I just walk around and start talking to people and just finding out a little bit about them. And, I'll tell them a little bit about me. I don't say I'm the speaker or whatever. And so that kind of puts us on this more relational kind of footing when we first start out. And it's really funny sometimes when I walk up on the stage and I can see somebody's eyes and they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We're all human beings, and we're not human doings. We're human beings, and we need to get back to that. And for me, it is, what does the audience require of me? What does whomever has, brought me in? We've had major discussions about what do you want your audience to walk away with. When I walk into organizations after we've done several discoveries and really determine what our success outcome is, how do we tailor programs so that they're getting that? And everything I do is experiential. It's not just about me being Charlie Brown's teacher. Remember? Walk, walk,
Yeah.
walk. Because nobody wants to listen to that. And we like to have fun. And I like to tell jokes. I like to ask the audience to participate with me. And it really lightens things up, and it helps them to not feel so self-conscious. Sometimes when we go into these huge audiences and they say, okay, who raise your hand. You can literally see people kind of looking around to see, okay, are people raising their hand? So we make it, I try to make it so that you want to be engaged. You want to play along. You want to have fun. And there will be those that don't want to, and that's okay because I'm planting seeds. Maybe I don't see it in their face or no one else does, but I bring such salient information, tell people how the positivity can work in their life because it's worked in my life. I've had, you know, there's probably not anything anyone hasn't experienced that I haven't experienced, except I haven't been to prison. Thank you, Jesus. So I feel qualified to really talk about
Mm.
what happened when I had all the negative thoughts
Mm.
versus when I said, okay, I've got a choice. I'm going to choose positive. And I have a saying that I like to use now, and it's look for the gifts. And so I'm just trying to instill just those little flashes of some zingers that people can go, oh, okay, let me reframe this, or okay, let me think about this differently. And by all means, I have to keep my energy level high. If I go to a 2-day facilitation at an organization, most often it's either a Wednesday or a Thursday. That's my preference because a lot of times I'm traveling back on a Friday. And on Saturday and Sunday, I have got to recharge because I'm actually an ambivert. I'm an extroverted introvert. So I've got to get my batteries recharged. And that's another thing I like to tell people. What are you doing to take care of yourself? That's a huge part. We don't take care of ourselves enough nowadays. So I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, no, wonderful. I love that. And I love what you said there. One, I love how you said we need to reframe what we're thinking because it's so easy, especially now. It may be like, well, everything is going down, right? Like everything is just nothing's going good. But then it's like, well, when we reframe that and we think, okay, well, what are the good things? And it's like, oh, there's actually quite a few more good things that are going on. And that helps you. Yeah, there's some things that suck. There's also a lot of good things. And so that kind of brings you out of that. And then it's like, okay, well, let's elevate the rest of that. You had mentioned you have your course, HAL, positive
Approach to
approach.
leadership.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, I know what the A stands for. Positive approach to leadership. Sorry. And so, how does one? Is that just a course that anybody can take, or is that a course that okay, well, I'm part of an organization, and so we're doing it as an organization, or how does that work?
Well, it's designed to be either. I've got the gamified online course. It's really so much fun. I piloted it for 2.5 years, had a lot of people go through and feel like it's a fun learning experience, but with so many important concepts. So you can either do it individually, and on my website, there's an order form that you can sign up. My preferred mode and the way it was specifically designed was to create a shared language in organizations. We send leaders and managers to their professional development. They come back and the employees come up to them and say, what did you learn? What do you have to share? And for the most part, and people laugh when I say this, but they say, oh, same old, not much, right? Well, it's demotivating for the employees because they're looking to hear what did you learn? What can I benefit from? Many of them are truly excited because especially now, our younger generations, they love to learn and grow. That's what it's about. And I applaud them for that. So when they come back and they're excited to tell their leader or manager, sometimes they're multitasking and they're like, great. Oh, that's great. Well, that's demotivating as well. And not only that, but we're spending corporate dollars and this is what's happening. The messages are not they never meet in the middle. So the shared language is so the 2-day face-to-face for managers and leaders, they go through exactly what is being covered in the online gamified course, but they're also learning how to coach and mentor them through if they have questions about it. On the other side, the 6-week online gamified course, it takes about 45 minutes of computer and resource time. And the rest of the week, the modules drop once per week. The rest of the week, you're actively applying. I'm a huge proponent of putting things into action. You're dispelling old behaviors. You're interrupting old patterns. You're learning new ways of doing things. And the beautiful part is when you've got an entire department going through that together or an entire team going through that together, everyone's on the same page and you can reinforce one another in a supportive way. There's also a leaderboard. So that's a lot of fun because friendly competition is always great. And sometimes I'll offer presents and prizes, and sometimes the organizations offer prizes. So you can do it either way. Both are equally rewarding. But for me, I think there's such a chasm in the leadership and employees that I am truly focused on bringing this experiential learning into organizations. So much so that I'm looking to hire some consultants to help bring it into the organization. And that's a goal I have for next year. And that's exciting for me too, because it's a give back for me that I can help people who want to get into consulting with a turnkey program, and they don't have to go through everything I went through. When I first started, there was no such thing as instructional design or anything like that. I had to discover what they wanted, design it, develop it, deliver it, debrief it. I had to do everything. And that takes many years to really make that a profoundly impactful learning experience. So I'm going to wrap it up in a neat little package and certify consultants to be the positive consultant, their name and the positive consultant. That was trademarked on purpose many years ago. And it's, I have to say, it's been amazing to me to watch sometimes when I review. And I think that's important too, for us to just take a look at. I have a great team. I have my own consulting that is really changing lives. And I think that's important too. And I know I digress a little bit from your original question, but Roger, you know me well enough to know that I squirrel sometimes. But individually, organizationally, go into as a keynote, I can do a breakout session, and we can do a brief little look-see at PAL, because everybody needs a good PAL. And so there's all kinds of ways to implement it. Yeah.
No.
Oh, and there's SHRM PDCs that are
Oh,
attached to it. And so that's a bonus. And then also general CEUs are offered. So it takes care of that need that many of our professionals have, getting those certification units.
first time that disrupt, you guys remember like, okay, well, here's your SHRM, PDCs and CUs. And I was like, oh, am I supposed to be doing something? Didn't know what they were. Well, I love what you said there. First, I like how I think that's a really good start of a tagline. Like everybody needs a pal. So I really like that. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
using that, but if you are,
I am.
yeah, okay,
Everybody needs a great
yeah,
pal.
that's perfect. I love how you had said earlier, so leaders get some sort of training, right? And then maybe the employee gets a training, but the training is just a little like they're talking about something over here, and then the employees, they get taught something maybe over here. And so then when they talk later on, it's like, well, they're trying to do something, the leader's trying to do something, and then the employee's like, okay, well, let me go ahead and start implementing it and trying to go this way. But then it's like they're going all over and they're not really connecting. And so I love that. I love how you go in there and it's like, okay, we're going to, the leader's going to be talking about this. And now the employee is going to be talking about what applies to them, but also connects back to what the leader is. And then the leader also is applying back to what, the employee. And so instead of going all over the place, they're going side by side and they're really taking advantage. I think that's absolutely wonderful. I've seen it in action.
Yeah, thank you. In my 25 years of consulting, Roger, I have found that there is not a shared language. Even when we have the same concepts, going to leaders and managers going to one learning experience and employees going to the other, it's been explained differently. This gives us the same concepts, explained the same way. They're learning it. And the leaders and managers also get access to the online course too, so they know exactly what their employees are going through.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that, yeah, because a lot of times they're like, well, so like, what did you do? It's like talking to your kid and it's like, nothing. It's like, so you telling me you spent 8 hours at school and you did nothing, right? Nothing happened.
At lunch.
Yeah, I had lunch. Like, that's what my 9-year-old says. He's like, I had lunch. And part of me is just like, well, I feel that deep in my soul because that was my favorite part of, school too. Like, when's lunch, right? Like, that was my favorite part of school too. So if somebody is thinking, they're like, well, you know what? Like, you're speaking my language. And the problem is that my employees and my managers, they're not speaking the same language. What are some of the things that somebody needs to think through to be like, hey, maybe I need someone like Melinda to come in and spark a little positivity, but also help us speak the same language so that we're moving in the same direction? what are some things that they need to kind of think about in that if they were thinking of engaging you or just thinking that, hey, there needs to be some sort of positive change in our environment?
Yeah, one of the things is really to look at what their pain points are. And I mean that deeply, like what is happening within the organization? How is it showing up? How is it presenting in terms of revenues that are being lost, productivity being lost, time being lost, conflict that is occurring? Because if you don't change those things, then nothing is going to change. Start there with figuring out here are the examples of what I've seen, like patterns that are showing up. Maybe it's siloed teams or not being able to interact interdepartmentally, which is so critical. We don't operate in a vacuum. And as managers and leaders, I think it's important to have that opportunity to gather with one another. That's another thing that doesn't happen very often in organizations. We're all leading our own areas, and there's not a group kind of work things out, talk things through. So, looking at the pain points, but then deciding, okay, what do I want to have happen? Any road will take you there if you don't know where you're going. So, what is the success outcome? That is where we always start. Is what are you looking to have happen? How will we know we have achieved our goal? What are the dynamics? What do you want the dynamics to be between employees? What do you want to see stop being done? What do it's the stop, start, and continue kind of exercise. And unfortunately, it doesn't really occur that someone calls on me until the pain gets great enough. What I do love are those proactive organizations. I love to work with them. I love to work with all my organizations, but I really love an organization that says, "Hey, our team is doing they're doing okay. They're doing fine, but we want to up level them. We want to have that shared language. We want to all be on the same page. We want to understand how we're communicating. We want to understand different styles of conflict resolution. We want to come from our core values. One of the things we do is we explore individual core values and team core values. And how does that align with organizational core values? And oddly enough, some people don't have core values, and many individuals have never even stopped to think about their core values, let alone are they living them right. So it becomes this holistic program. So I guess it begins really with the individual also as a leader. How are you feeling about your leadership? What do you see as, perhaps you're trying to continue to climb the ladder and what's missing for you? And so how, by sharing this experience, a rising tide lifts all ships. So by sharing this experience, what can we do to up level the entire team, department, organization? And then reach out to me to have a conversation. You can reach me through the website, just reach out to me in an email, Melinda at the Positive Consultant, LinkedIn, of course. And I would like to encourage everyone to connect with me on LinkedIn. I offer tips and techniques throughout the week about many of the things that Roger and I have discussed today. I'm delighted to go into a discovery conversation with you and sometimes help you uncover things that you've not even thought of. Yeah. And if you want coaching, that's my sweet spot. And I love to bring people to the next level. You're doing the work, but I'm your Gandalf. I'm going to guide you around on the path.
And you do a absolute fantastic job. And we just started, but
Yeah.
then you were just like, hey, like, what are we doing? What are what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with with what you have and where are you wanting to go? And so, yeah, absolutely wonderful. I really do appreciate that time because we were talking as friends, but you were also talking as, hey, I've been there. I get it. But don't give up. Don't do that. And I love
Yeah.
what you said about you want to help the individual. And it made me think of what we had chatted about and what you had posted when you had spoken the other day about would you follow you? And I think that you had mentioned like as a leader, you know, am I leading in such a way that others are going to follow? And specifically, would I follow myself? And so I think realizing that I think is very crucial. And just like you said, a lot of times we don't reach out until we have that pain. So I think that that's absolutely fantastic that you're there for proactive and then also like, hey, we're right in the middle of it and we need something happening. So
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
going to ask
Yeah.
you where we can find you, but you already told us. So that's absolutely fantastic.
I just would like to say that if you're considering coaching or if you're a leader and you're considering bringing someone into your organization, I would be honored to do that. But I don't care if it's me or if it's someone else. Find what you need because you are so worth it. You get up every day and you're impacting people's lives. You know, one of my favorite examples as a leader is this: there's always someone watching you, right? And so you have to model the way daily. I want everyone to step into their power. I don't want anyone to feel marginalized when they walk into the organization because it is tough out there right now. But again, you're worth it. You can remind yourself that you are positively powerful. And if you're saying, I'm not sure I would follow me, then do get in touch with me. I would love to be a part of your adventure. It's not just a journey, it's an adventure, and adventures are fun.
Yeah, very much so. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing today, Melinda. We will have all of your links in the show notes, so you can definitely check that if you are thinking of connecting with Melinda. Melinda, thank you so much for bringing your positive energy, and I really do appreciate you coming today and being on this.
Thank you, Roger. I appreciate you too.
Of course.
And come to Disrupt HR
Yeah.
April 23rd.
Yeah, April 23rd here in Austin. So thank you so much, and we
Thanks,
will see you
Roger.
next time.